In the ancient city of Rajagaha, where kings, philosophers, and seekers of truth walked the same dusty roads, the name of Gautama Buddha had begun to spread like a quiet wind, soft but unstoppable. His teachings were reaching every corner of the land, drawing people from all walks of life. Among them was a man named Vasitha, a brilliant scholar of the Vedas. How, then, could such a man be considered wise? How could farmers and kings alike abandon the Vedas for a monk who spoke of simplicity, mindfulness, and letting go? He had spent his entire life immersed in study, memorizing scriptures, debating teachers, and earning the admiration of the elite. People called him wise, learned, and unmatched in argument. But as the teachings of Buddha began gaining popularity, Vasitha grew uneasy. He would challenge Buddha in front of his disciples and expose him as a fraud. He considered Buddha a wanderer, a man with no lineage of great teachers, no sacred texts to quote, no rituals to uphold. As he walked through the gates, he saw people sitting peacefully on the grass, their eyes fixed on a figure who radiated calmness. Driven by pride and curiosity, Vasitha decided to confront this so-called enlightened one, not with swords or anger, but with intellect. Even Vasitha, prepared to argue, found himself saying, "Go on." One morning he made his way to the Bamboo Grove Monastery, where Buddha often gave his teachings. There he was, Buddha, clad in a simple robe, his presence commanding yet gentle. He did not flinch, nor did he look offended. Instead, he smiled gently, as if he had been expecting this question. "Indeed, now tell me this, if someone is sick and merely chants the names of medicine, but does not take the medicine, will he be healed?" Vasitha cleared his throat and stepped forward. The crowd turned. The scholar raised his voice so all could hear. "Knowledge that is not practiced is like a boat never sailed, or a medicine never taken. The truth cannot be found through words alone, but through direct experience." "Gautama," he said, not with hostility, but with unmistakable arrogance, "I have studied the great Vedas since childhood. I have learned from the finest teachers of our land. You, however, have no scriptures, no mantras, no sacred fire." He still looked down on those who knew less than he. He still felt disturbed when he lost an argument or missed a chance to impress. "What makes you think you are a teacher of truth?" A mirror so clear, it showed him what he had never dared admit. But if he does not live by even one line of truth, he is no better than a parrot. He felt something far more valuable than victory in debate. He felt humbled. On the other hand, one who knows only a single line but lives it fully, he is the truly wise. Buddha looked up slowly. "Let go of the pride that comes from knowledge. Come, sit, and observe your own mind. Truth is not something you learn, it is something you realize." He no longer sought to win arguments, but to understand life. He no longer looked for praise, but for peace. Have your debates quieted the restless noise in your mind? Can you sit alone in silence and feel complete? "Scholar," he said softly, "let me ask you a question." The crowd leaned in. Buddha asked, "If a person were to come to the riverbank and say, 'I shall cross the river by reciting the names of boats,' do you think he would reach the other side?" Vasitha blinked. He had not expected a question like this. "No," he said slowly. "Merely saying the names of boats would not carry him across." Buddha nodded. "No," said Vasitha, "he must take the medicine to be cured." "And so it is," said Buddha calmly, "with those who believe that the mere chanting of scriptures leads to wisdom." There was silence. Vasitha opened his mouth to respond, but no words came. Buddha continued, "Scholar, you say you have studied deeply, but has your study freed you from anger, from greed, from fear?" Vasitha felt a pang in his chest. Buddha's voice remained soft, but firm. "Has your learning made you kind to those who have wronged you?" The questions cut deeper than any insult. For all his knowledge, Vasitha knew, he still harbored jealousy, pride, and fear of death. He looked into Buddha's eyes and saw no Buddha then said, "A person may know 1,000 verses and speak of them all day." The crowd remained silent, awed by the simplicity and power of his words. Vasitha lowered his eyes. For the first time in his life, he had no clever retort, no ancient verse to quote, no applause to chase. I have never heard truth spoken like this," he said quietly. "What should I do now?" Buddha replied, "Let go of the idea that truth is found only in books." Vasitha sat down among the other listeners, not as a scholar, not as a challenger, but as a seeker. In time, he became one of Buddha's disciples, not because he had lost a debate, but because he had found something far greater, freedom from ego. He still loved the scriptures, but now he read them with a new understanding. And so, the proud scholar was silenced not by force, not by ridicule, but by one question that opened the door to his own heart.